We're calling the meeting to order, 5:37. This is the Big Valley Area Commission meeting. Do we need to say all present?
We
Except
just
for Meg.
introduce our,
One person.
just to introduce who the directors are.
We have to do that? All right, our board of directors, we have absent at the moment, she's on her way, Megan Langford, Rick White, Arno Hubert, Sydney Giverson, did I pronounce that right? And myself, Mark Lips.
And then we can say the,
You know, this is my first meeting, and I can't believe, call to order, roll call, establish quorum. We have a quorum, we've just given public comment. Would anybody from the public like to come up and make public comment? This is your chance, especially if it has nothing to do with anything on the agenda. The what?
Hello.
Okay. Please state your name and where you were born. No, just kidding.
Hello, Big Valley. This is Margot Kambara. First, I want to thank the B.V.A.C. members for your volunteer service. I want to thank our supervisors for being here, too. I know Supervisor Paiska was planning to be here, but it's a very special time for her to be here tonight with us because her daughter is being honored in Middletown tonight.
Oh, wow.
So, special public sacrifice there. I want to talk to you about two topics. First is a standing agenda for this meeting, and I suggest that we add a standing agenda item that would cover planning projects in the Big Valley area. And one of the main reasons for forming this council was to give the community more information on projects coming into our community. So I know other municipal area councils have this as a standing agenda item, and somebody from the community or somebody on the council gathers the information to share with the council and community, so we're all informed, because it's, gosh, it can be a rude surprise when you find out next door there's a 3-story high-density residential something or other, or something else down your street. So anyway, I suggest that we give that serious thought. Secondly, also on the agenda, I suggest that we include information on how to access PEG TV, the recording for the meeting, and also how to participate via Zoom, because that's a great way to get more public participation in this forum, and also to get the word out on what is important to our community and what this body is talking about. And then third, there might be something wrong with the B.V.A.C. email address. I've sent a couple emails out and no response. But anyway, something to look into. My question is, what is the best way to get in touch with B.V.A.C. to suggest agenda topics? Because, gosh, if we have to wait till today for next month or future months, that's a lot of lag time. And finally, again, only because of public participation, it'd be great if we can get our minutes approved and posted onto the county website, because we still have minutes from last year that aren't posted yet. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so point of order, what, well, not point of order, but what, who does get emails when they're sent in? We have an email?
We're actually trying to sort that out right now because there's been a transfer of accounts.
Okay.
And
Changing
we haven't done that in the best manner, I would say. So I'm trying to sort that out with Angel.
Okay.
Regarding suggesting items for the agenda, that's a really good idea. I mean, that's what we need to do anyway. I think we should encourage people either emailing or commenting on Facebook whenever we post. And then finally, the updates on the community, that's something, we've been talking about too. So that's definitely something that we should do at the beginning of each meeting, maybe after there are public comments done, or just do an update on what's going on. Agenda, and when I mean agenda, I mean the dates in the community, what's different events, as you say, like updates on whatever community development might be going and all that, definitely. And I'm actually, I'm glad to hear other councils are doing it, because, we definitely need to step that up.
And normally, will this meeting start at 6 o'clock or 5:30?
Yeah, so that's my mistake.
Well, it doesn't matter, but 6 o'clock, right?
6 o'clock. So
gonna
normally
open
it's
that?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
So today was a one-off, and that's my mistake. We used to do it at 5:30 last year, and then we moved it to 6 o'clock. And when I put together the agenda, I used an old template. So that's how we end up with 5:30. So that's on me. So I apologize for that.
It's 6 o'clock for anybody listening or present. It will be 6 o'clock will be the meeting starts, and I always hear, Dave, what, can we do Zoom? Yeah, we have Zoom?
We're live on Zoom, and we also are live on our YouTube channel.
Wow.
So both of those are up and running. I do bring Starlink to this specific council meeting. So moving forward, we're going back to the 6 o'clock time. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. All right.
And can I ask, are those links in the email that goes out to invite us all?
Sorry, what was that?
Are those Zoom links, YouTube links, are those in the email that invites us to
Who-
the meeting?
Whoever your chair is has all of that information. I've
They
given
should
it.
be, but I don't believe the Zoom link was included in the last one.
Okay,
But
so-
normally then the other ones, and it doesn't change.
Okay, and then also, for whatever reason, I wasn't included in the email for the agenda.
And
Okay,
again,
so before the night's over, let's exchange info. I'll get it sent to
we
you,
will-
you get it sent to me, and we'll be good.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
make sure. The transition has not been easy.
Okay.
Right.
What's that? We're live. Every time I come, we're live. It will be on Saturday, correct? No, we don't have the technology to do that yet. It's live on YouTube, and we're live on Zoom.
All right.
All right. We're still open to public comments.
Yeah. Anybody else? Public comment? Helen? KBA? You don't have anything to go up to the mic? Let's hear about it. It sounded eventful.
Oh, yeah, we
Well,
can-
we don't
can talk.
now.
Yeah, this is fine.
So, do I need to introduce myself or any of that sort of thing? My name's Helen Finch, and I'm president of the Kelseyville Business Association, and a couple of things that KBA has going on right now. California cleanup is the thing that we're the happiest about and real excited about getting our community involved. We've got a committee put together that's starting to meet and talk about specifics. We've had one gathering of about 30 volunteers who picked up in the, 30, 40 bags of trash from all around our community, and we are just looking to build on that and really reach out and bring in as many of the neighbors and the neighboring communities and take this as far around the lake as it'll go. I think that's really
Helen,
sorry,
as
drawing a blank. I wasn't really
as a member of the
anticipating.
KBA, are you aware of any planning, building, development going on? Maybe you are, Rick, with,
Well, I could share something that has my attention. I don't know quite what to make of it, so I haven't gone very far with it. I did get a phone call about a development on Kelsey Creek, right near the bridge. I'm not sure who is responsible, but someone is wanting to build quite an elaborate fish ladder. I know that there's a bit of a fish ladder now that has been there for, I don't know, 45, 50 years, a long time. Or possibly since 45. That number's in my head, and I'm not sure if it's the year that that was built or if it's been there about that long, but a long time.
There are plans to build a fish ladder. There's money available through the Blue Ribbon, and it's to assist the hitch.
Exactly.
So it's ready to go. There's some property.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but for people listening in online, you have to speak into the microphone if you're going to make a comment. Sorry.
So Sharon, I'll repeat what you shared with us. It does seem, and that is who I heard from, was one of the property owners who was concerned about the activity. He anticipates some 1,000 truckloads of gravel and concrete and so on and so forth, and he's concerned about the toll it will take on the neighborhood, probably his yard in particular, as I think that might be the access. And flooding, he's looked into, he's quite the experienced 50 years of building and engineering himself, so he's got some ideas of his own that he's interested in sharing, and but he was just in a little bit of a tizzy and called because I'd be alarmed too if somebody wanted to put such a big thing in his yard, and he doesn't seem to understand necessarily who's going to benefit. I think agriculture is sort of, that's going to work for us well, but I think because it leaves more water in the fish in the water in the creek, excuse me, then that's a plus for agriculture, no? Sharon's not on the microphone, so she's not saying anything.
So that project, as Sharon mentioned, that's been in the works for a long time. It was held up by this property sale, which I believe is still, it's not been completely finished. That's been studied in engineering for a while now because the existing ladder didn't really work. So that's the idea. I think we should bring the stakeholders for this project maybe to a meeting so that they can do a presentation about it. I think that'd be great because it's right there.
Yeah, no,
and it's going to be a major project on the creek. So
unquestionably, and so that was kind of glad to have an opportunity to bring this up. I've spoken with Sasha Racine about it a little bit and didn't quite know where to go with it. I'm kind of been in a holding pattern because he did reach out and he did share his plans and what he thought was the better bet or idea, but I had to ask him, I need to know who's talking to you, who is, who are you having a problem with?
Pardon me for cutting you off, but that's good to know that we've got that kind of development happening, and we'll drill down a little deeper when we get the stakeholders, as Arno was thinking about here.
We may have to search that out on our end because he's not forthcoming with, who's talking to him, who's asking him questions, who's who's in charge or responsible or anything. I think California Waterways is perhaps.
There are several parties involved, including an NGO, the state, and some engineering firm, and that's what I heard. So we'll drill that down and we'll try to get the local people who know about this to come here and do a presentation.
There you go.
Okay.
That's
anybody else?
Everything that I can scare up for you at the moment. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything, an announcement? Or I know we're supposed to only speak to what items on the agenda, I guess, but if there's some kind of an announcement that we should know about, people might want to hear about. Okay. All right, you want to take it from here?
Sure. Okay, public comment having ended, the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from February 12th meeting. And were those minutes, Rick, disseminated?
No, I passed them on. I don't know if they got posted anywhere.
Okay.
I don't know those.
Then if I could just grab them for a moment. I'm going to just briefly summarize. Normally we have copies for everyone so that we can vote straight up or down approval. So the February 12th meeting was called to order at 6:02. Megan Langford, Rick White, and Arno Bear were present. And Jessica Peiska gave an update on the new CAL FIRE map, and that we suggested we consider taking steps to make Kelseyville a fire-wise community, and that we have maybe John Knoll come and speak at one of these meetings, which I think would be helpful for everybody. She also gave a brief update on the senior center with a few of the architectural changes. And let's see, also Lake County Water Resources just started a new program and is looking for volunteers to help monitor the hitch, which may be a part of what's going on with the ladder. Mireya Turner from Community Development came and gave a LAPAC update, LAPAC, L-A-P-A-C. Explained the land use map and gave an update just kind of on community growth boundary changes. We also had the senior transportation planner from the Regional Transportation Planning Agency giving a presentation on the 2026 transportation plan, which was very informative, and the links are available, I believe, on their website if anyone wants to look more into that. And Chris Nettles from the Cobb Area Council gave a great report on the Cobb Area Development Plan, and shared some ideas about how we could develop a similar plan and how those things sort of worked for Cobb and what worked and what didn't. Okay. And the meeting was adjourned at 7:15. So can I have a second for approval of the February 12th minutes, please?
I'll make a second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, we have an update from the District 4 supervisor and the District 5 supervisor. Lady and gentlemen, who would like to go first?
I'll go first. Good afternoon, everyone. So I heard from Lars that the senior center design plans are just about ready. So he's gonna come. He's gonna come next month and talk about. Now I have my back to the camera. I'll just stand. Okay. Okay, so I think, Mark, you were here the night in the fall when we had the presentation with the architect and the engineer.
Oh, I was, at the, yes.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the B.V.A.C meetings, it was a special meeting to talk about the designs. Mm-hmm. So there were some minor changes, and looks like it's getting wrapped up. The architect may have a couple tweaks after that, but he's happy to come next month and present. And we're still hoping to have, well, the last time we spoke, I think maybe break ground in the fall, late or early winter, but I guess we'll let him speak on that when he comes. The other update that I wanted to talk to you about is next week at the board, we're going to have Sonoma Clean Power present. And so you're aware of this already. Yeah, we're really excited about that. And so for those of you that don't know, Sonoma Clean Power is a community choice aggregation, and that's a power company that uses mostly clean power in their portfolio. And there was a feasibility analysis done years ago to see if Lake County could be added to the portfolio, which means they could provide power here. And at that time, it was not feasible. But there have been changes to the grid. I've been the liaison with Sonoma Clean Power since 2021. And anyway, things have changed, and it's now possible to look at that again. Now, what that means is if Sonoma Clean Power does provide service to the county, uses the same infrastructure as PG&E, you just buy the power from Sonoma Clean Power instead of PG&E. And it's at a much, well, about a 7% discounted price because they're not investor owned. They're a public utility. So it's really exciting. I know, everyone's really excited about this. So that conversation will be next week, and it's just a feasibility study to look at it again. Their board will have representatives to talk to us, so if this is something that you're interested in, if you can't attend the meeting, watch the recording later, because this is a big deal. We've all been getting crushed by PG&E prices. We've lost businesses. It's been really tough. And again, PG&E is going back in front of the CPUC for more rate increases. And this is a way for us to potentially have an alternative. Now, if you don't want Sonoma Clean Power, you can opt out and buy your power through PG&E, and there's really any changes other than on your bill.
Jessica, who makes the determination of whether this is going to be available to Lake County or not? Is that a board decision?
Well, our board has to consent to looking at the feasibility analysis, but it's going to be on Sonoma Clean Power to make that decision if it works for them.
And if they decide that it works for them, is there permission needed from the board?
I think that'll be the next step. So they've reached out to us.
Okay.
This is something that they are thinking could work for Lake County.
And if people want to show their support for that idea, they should show their support by contacting the board and advocating for it?
I think-
Or contact Sonoma Clean Power?
Well, I think maybe the best thing to do is watch the presentation, learn more about it, and then we'll hear from Sonoma Clean Power on what they think they can do and what they can provide, and then we'll come back later. January 1st is the magic date, so if we do things this year and we are prepared for January, if we have contracts in place before January 1st, then that's great for next year. If not, it gets pushed out another year.
So when did you say this feasibility study meeting presentation?
Next Tuesday.
Tuesday, and that would be it.
Yeah, the agenda has not been posted, so we don't know what the time is yet. But I'm sure it'll be a timed item. Usually those are in the morning. But again, if you can't make it, the videos, you can always access the videos.
Okay, that's great news.
It is good news. And then we've had some other updates that's less good news, but I will let my colleague handle that.
How kind of you. All right. District 4 Supervisor, what do you have for us?
First thing, since the discussion came up about the fish ladder improvement on Kelsey Creek, and it was mentioned that the stakeholders should be brought here, it's the County Water Resources Department that's currently in the negotiation with the property owner that Helen was mentioning. So, and I know that's currently going on, so I just wanted to mention that. The next thing is, I think it would be a good idea if we prioritize for maybe the next meeting to have some Brown Act training for this board. There's 3 new board members. I'm not sure if the other 2 existing members had that training or not previously, but I'm not sure how long they usually schedule to do that. I wouldn't think it would be more than an hour, but maybe we could get it done in a little less time. But nonetheless, I think it would be a good idea for that to be on the next agenda, and then if you choose to put that on there, then we can talk to county council and get them out here. Lastly, just with the federal budget issues, everybody knows that that's ongoing in the news every day. But the reason it's important to us here is, there's a lot of those federal dollars that come into our county for various different programs, whether it's ongoing federal funding that comes in, for example, like our social services department would be a significant recipient of some of those federal dollars for the operations that they're delegated to do under the state law for our community. So But there's also other things that have happened, like our forest reserve money that rural counties in California have been getting for over 100 years is currently not, Congress does not have that in the current budget. And why that's significant is because we're talking about a little under $500,000. Half of that money goes to the county general fund with the intent that it be used on safety improvement work around our schools, I believe, and Mr. March can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the intent of where we'd use that $250,000. The other part of it goes to the school districts and the community college districts based on a percentage of what footprint they have with the national forest, because it's based on acreage of national forest you have in your county. We have the Mendocino National Forest. The biggest portion goes to the Upper Lake School District because they're right there where the forest is. But also, some of that money is used to operate the Taylor Observatory, the planetarium here in Kelseyville, in your area. So that's something that funding is used for. So just want to make sure that was out to your knowledge. There's been other losses that we've had. For example, a little under $1 million from an earmark from a year ago that would have gone to one of our pending road projects that's been on the radar for a while that needs to get done, and another $1 million that I'm aware of from another county project that we have going on. So just wanted you folks to be aware that's stuff that we're spending a lot of time on at the board right now, because some of these things could have a serious impact on our budget here in the county. So our supervisors are spending a lot of time working on those issues, and just every week there's something on the agenda regarding us either getting a report or a letter that we're sending to various different agencies regarding our concerns for some of those fundings. So I would encourage you to, take a look at what we've had on the agenda. So that's just kind of a quick summary of it, but it changes by day to day, so can't really give you any more exact info. But that's the report for now. I think that covers it.
Brad, is that
What was that?
is that funding? Was that? I'm assuming if it was that from federal or
Yes,
state?
federal.
Federal. Okay.
Everything I'm talking about is federal funding.
Federal. All right.
We do also receive state funding for various different programs. This year, the county has employed firms that are monitoring both legislation and budget issues for us, because it's a massive job to keep on top of that. So it was in our interest to get these firms that are directly connected to Sacramento and Washington to help us with those projects. I did forget one important one that I think I should mention, especially since we're in one of our senior centers here, is the AAA funding, which provides a lot of the funding for the Meals on Wheels and food for the senior centers. That's about $1 million a year. And that was actually taken out of the budget in 2024 with the previous Congress. Then it got put back in a little bit earlier this year, and now it's at risk again. We don't know where it's going to end up. We do right now have it covered through September, but that could change if the congressional budget changes. So, thank you. Yes, if you look at the county Facebook page, all of those items are broken out into their own video. There's one probably about an hour long on a federal budget update if you want to learn more information. Thank you.
Yes. You have to go up to the mic and state your name, please.
Margot Kambara. I want to thank our supervisors for dealing with the chaos from the federal side, especially since it's all going to roll downhill, and it might require, well, it will require a lot of heavy lifting at the county level. So I thank you for trying to make sense out of all that. I have a question about an interesting thing happening in the county, and that is a proposed change in governance. So any light that you can shed on that? And the proposal is to change our form of management from a strong CAO to a strong CEO. There was a special meeting on March 21st, but there isn't a whole lot of information available. Thanks.
Yeah, just briefly, it's not on the agenda, so we can't get into a lot of detail, but there is no proposal right now for that to happen. This was something that was discussed during our board training, but there is nothing right now in front of our supervisors.
It was a workshop. That was all. Yeah.
Just a reminder for everyone, public comment can only concern things that are on the agenda. So if this does come up, we can put it on the agenda.
Yeah, just as an update, it was a workshop it was a training and a workshop. We talked about a lot of things all day. That was just one of the things that was brought up. We had a consultant that's come before in the past to talk with us about governance and, how our governance works. And, if there is a proposal that comes forward, it will be on a regular agenda and it'll be posted and we'll have a discussion. But right now there is not a proposal.
All right, any more updates from either of the supervisors' corners? Okay. Next on the agenda, we have Public Works Director Glenn March, who's going to talk to us a little bit about future road, bicycle, and pedestrian projects.
So, good evening. I'm Glenn March, the new Public Works Director. I know John was here last month, and John spoke about the Regional Transportation Plan and Active Transportation Plan update. I don't know what John covered, but the reason why I'm here is to discuss what projects that you would like included in the plan. Mainly, I'm here to address if you have concerns, how do we identify that as a project so it can be included in the plan? Everybody has concerns, but it's important that we capture them as projects, because in the future, it's important to identify a project when we seek grant funding for the project. Just to tell you a little bit of what's happening in the Public Works Department in this area. We are currently working on the environmental phase of the Kelseyville Sidewalk Project, which is 1,700 feet of sidewalk on Canocti Road. We are also working on a plan to put a thin concrete coating on the Kelsey Creek Bridge on Main Street. So that will be 3 years out, I hope. Today I met with Caltrans. We were discussing applying for a grant for safe streets and roads for all. So right now we can only do planning, grants for planning. So how it impacts Kelseyville area, we are going to look at a Soda Bay Road safety study. We are looking at Main Street in Kelseyville corridor study. And what I intend to do with that is break it up into 2 phases. The first phase is what we can do with striping and pavement markings that our staff can do. And the other one is actual physical improvements out there, maybe bulb outs or something to do traffic calming.
Great.
So let's switch. Let me put the RTP and ATP in context. They're 2 separate plans. RTP is regional transportation plans. So those are the the transportation transportation projects that really impact the region. So what I intend to put on that is, so in general right now, in the last 2022 plan, there was just general projects, pavement rehabilitation, bridge rehabilitation, and things like that. So I'm specifically going to list Bottle Rock Road rehabilitation, and that's kind of the major one for this area. It's a large, what they call arterial road, so it's one of the busiest roads in the county, so it's important that we get that road fixed. It's a priority for me. And the active transportation plan is primarily a multimodal plan that addresses not only cars, but bicycle and pedestrian improvements, as well as our bus system, so improvements for our bus systems. So as part of that, I would do a Kelseyville Main Street complete streets project, list that. And in the last plan, there were 3 projects identified, but they were long-term, long-range projects. Let's see. Okay, so there were pedestrian improvements at Main and 3rd Street, Bell Hill Drive and Main Street, and Live Oak Drive and Main Street. Those were 3 pedestrian improvement projects that were specifically listed in the active transportation plan. So the Lake APC will be updating the local road safety plan later this fall. So it will give you an opportunity to give input on safety issues. So those 3 plans provide us information to put in our capital improvement plan. So the capital improvement plan is the Public Works Department presents it to the Board of Supervisors, and we use that to identify projects that we search for funding for and try to get accomplished. So does anybody have any questions, concerns?
Yeah, Mark, we understood that maybe there'd be some work on our sidewalks between 2nd and 3rd Street to take care of the curb that's raising and creating a huge trip hazard. Is that scheduled for this spring, or what? Do you know?
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Okay.
So let me write that down. So I've been with the county for 8 months.
Okay.
So there are a few things I have not heard about.
Well, before you leave, you might take a little walk down 2nd and 3rd, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm sure.
And one of the reasons I'm asking that is if they are going to be doing work this spring, we've got some events planned on Main Street. I'm just wondering how that'll all work together.
Yeah, so based on California code, the property owner is responsible for those fixes. So we'll probably write a letter to the property owner. We'll start with that.
I thought the county would be the property owner for the sidewalks.
No, the parcel owner who fronts the property is responsible for sidewalk.
Yeah, same way.
Glenn, can you give us an update on any upcoming, if any, pedestrian or bicycle trails that are planned for our area, and whether or not that's been brought up as a project to you?
So Lars Ewing, who was here last week, is responsible for the parks as well as the trails. So I know he's in the process of creating a trails master plan. If you haven't seen his schedule, you may want to reach out to him.
I meant more along the lines of like bike lanes in roads.
Yeah, so currently I'm not aware of any. There are no plans. So that's the feedback that I'm looking for to include in the active transportation plan.
Okay.
So,
And how do we ask for that? I mean, if I,
well,
you know,
that's why I'm
other
here.
than just saying, hi, I'd like a bike lane
So,
to get to Kelseyville from my house or to get around Kelseyville.
so what you want to do is, as you mentioned earlier, you want to connect to that Lake APC website.
Okay.
And put that project in the list, and but you can also reach out to me.
Okay. And anyone can propose a project, and it's just kind of about asking for what you want.
Correct.
All right, great news.
I have a question. Sharon Zoller from Kelseyville. At the Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, and I didn't catch all of it, but there's a South Main and Soda Bay Corridor Road Improvement Project. I didn't hear the whole presentation, so what's happening with that, which is right out here?
So the South Main Street Soda Bay Road project, it's a road widening and bicycle lane project. So the project will widen the road to add a center turn lane and put bicycle class 2 bike ways on each side.
And where would that be?
It's actually two separate projects. The first project goes from the city limits to State Route 175, and the Soda Bay Road widening and bikeway project will go from Route 175 to approximately the transfer station down by Manning Creek.
So I just heard about this. I happened to hear about it, and so to the point that Margot brought up, it'd be really important to have these kinds of projects shared on a regular basis here at these meetings, so that we know what's going on and can give input of whatever level. But I only just happened to hear about this sort of serendipitously, and then you were coming. But to have these kinds of things shared on a regular basis, so that we know what's going on, the committee can ask for input or just share it around. So I think it's really important. Okay. But thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Lasik. To paraphrase the comment from the chair, yeah, I'd like a bike lane. I think it would be really helpful for tourism and also for active transportation to have a bike lane that connects Lakeport to Kelseyville, and also to connect Lakeport and Kelseyville to Highland Springs Recreation Area. Yeah, it's a beautiful bike ride through Highland Springs Road and Bell Hill Road, and it'd be sort of a golden triangle. The other thing I would like to ask is that Highland Springs Road is on the Kelseyville area plan for two things that I'm aware of. One is to make it a scenic drive, and the other one is to improve the safety. And I'm wondering if those safety improvements are on your radar.
No.
Okay. Check your inbox.
They are now.
And so what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, is the best way to get ourselves heard on these issues and to prioritize them for our area is to go on the ATP website and submit them as projects. And so maybe the more people who do that, the squeaky wheel will get the grease. Is that an effective interpretation?
That's a great recommendation.
Okay.
And one final one. Oh, no, I guess not. If you had any update on the Kelsey Creek Drive speed study.
You should not have asked for that speed study. They're going to raise the speed limit. You know that, right?
The speed limit is 55.
I know.
Do you want the speed increase or decrease?
Yes.
Decrease.
Okay.
Bell Hill Road is 45.
It's what?
45.
Okay. So
And 35 on Live Oak.
For speed humps, you need to have a speed limit of 25 miles an hour or less. So it's unlikely. The As far as the speed study, I do not have that on my list. What I intend to do is get a traffic engineer on board. We previously had a traffic engineer employed with the city, but now the county needs to hire a traffic engineer. So the traffic engineer will perform all the speed studies. And what I intend to do, there's probably 50 speed studies that have been requested. They cost about $7,000 a piece. And so we need to figure out a policy on how we're going to move forward on any speed studies. And speed studies have in the past increased speeds. So,
I mean, it's a county road. I don't think you're going to increase it to more than 55.
correct, but the speed limits that are less, they tend to get increased.
Miley, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, Miley Field from Kelseyville, Lakeport. Back to the prior topic, I'm really interested in the trails. Maybe you could give us the precise website for the record to where we can participate, the APC website you referred to earlier.
So search Lake APC and look at the 2026 ART Regional Transportation Plan / Active Transportation Plan. It's right, they have a link right on their homepage, and you can access the surveys.
Okay, thank you very much. And I just want to tell you how much I support the idea of creating trails that are safe for children bicycling. I also spoke to a woman who would really like to be able to ride her horse into town to get groceries.
Same. I'm one of those women.
Thank you.
Was it you?
No.
Or are there two?
I just agree. All right, anything else? Supervisor Pyska?
Oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I don't have the list with me.
The chip seal plans.
So our road division, the county road division, intends to do 27 miles of chip sealing. 37 miles of chip sealing. So you'll see improvements to Soda Bay Road and a bunch of other streets. So they are going to do the streets in Lower Lake as well as the Kelseyville area. So I have a list in the office. Go ahead.
When is that going to start?
Do you remember? Okay.
What you told me was it was going to be Manning Creek to Canocti Bay when it turns into the state highway. It's a big stretch.
And when does that start?
It will start after July. So it'll probably go from late July to October.
Okay.
Is Kelsey Creek on that list? I'm uncertain right now. You can reach out to me, send me an email. My email address, now that I have to give it, Glenn, Glen, .march, MARCH, at lakecountyca.gov.
Okay. Anything else for us today, Glenn?
Nope, that's it.
All right.
So it's important that you participate in the survey. I encourage you to do it. And the more input we receive, the more attention is being paid to you. So.
What survey we have, B.V.A.C site?
So Lake APC, do a search for Lake APC, which is the organization, and they have a link right on the homepage to the survey.
And John Spetka from Lake ABC was here last month and gave a presentation for those that were here. And he had flyers. I don't know if they're here anymore.
The address is lakeapc.org. If you would like to go to that website, there is meeting information as well as links to the various studies and surveys that you can participate in.
Yeah. And you could also watch last month, or not, I'm sorry, not last month, February. February is when John gave that presentation. It wasn't that long. He's been making the rounds to all the municipal advisory councils if you want more information on that process.
All right. That looks like the last item on the agenda. So if no one else has anything else they'd like to ask Glenn about, I think we're going to call it for tonight. So meeting is adjourned at 6:27 p.m. and we will see everyone next month for our next meeting, which will be at 6 p.m. in accordance with the rules of the bylaws. And that will be on May 14th at 6 p.m. here. So, thank you everyone for coming.